Hey there, everyone. I am Dr. Dream, and tonight is looking at the calendar, and it's just not coming to me. Monday, the 23rd of March, 2026. And you are here for the It's All Good Circle. We gather once a week as a community of connected souls finding a place together to communicate, hang out, and remind ourselves we're not alone. And tonight is no different than any other night, except we have a couple of our regulars are are missing tonight. Susie has had eye surgery earlier today, and Sylvie down in Mexico is not feeling well, and so we're send our love and good vibes to both of them. And I'm pretty sure Vienna will be joining us any minute. This last week, what a week. You know, they all are. They really, truly all are. But this last week was fascinating. I had an experience where and this has been building up, and I've spoken about it before. I'm doing all this distance healing, and it's a lot of stuff, and it's very heavy. And this last week, it became a little heavier, and so it was good for me because it's like necessity is the mother of invention, and I'm like, all right, I don't respond well to heavy energies. This isn't my normal go-to. I am, in addition to being Dr. Dream, the it's all good guy. So what am I going to do? And so I came out the other side of it. It was just one of those days where people's stories, and that's what I work with, is people's stories of how they're doing, and it's not that they're being victims. It's that I'm saying I want to hear everything, because that's what we guide the frequencies for. And but that being said, I ran a lot of frequencies on myself, and people it just had a day where everyone seemed to be taking a little bit of a dip energetically. So that was something that we got through. I think I mentioned last week. Did I mention last week that my producer partner in the Las Vegas show got really, really excited? Did I mention that? Maybe it happened afterwards. So my partner, producer, sort of mentor with the production that we're putting together in Las Vegas, got incredibly excited. Finally, I mean, he's been excited, but now he's like, wow. And you could just hear it in his voice. And so we're on the right track. I got him 6 more files today. We updated the cast. We added a main character. So I went in and rewrote everything, and it's exciting. It is so exciting. Like the Las Vegas show it's not just a pipe dream. This is actually really, really going to happen. And I imagine that in July, we will start raising seed money to start pulling things together. And he and I'll make a trip to Las Vegas and a trip to New York City. And so everything's moving along. It's exciting. And last week, Stephanie, my lovely wife, you all know her, had a suggestion about a topic, because we all seemed obsessed with food last week, and it could be that I hadn't had dinner. But so Stephanie suggested that we talk about our favorite meal, and everything about our favorite meal. And at the time I thought, cool topic, but it's a little bit too light. It's me, I like to go deep, and I'm like, that's nice, but that's not deep enough. And so I spun it, because I'm also the spin doctor. And I'm going to read what I wrote for my blog this week, because my blog feeds into you like the food fun, feeds into the It's All Good circle topic. And my Musings by Dr. Dream post this past week, or yesterday, as it were, is titled, Are You Feeding Your Soul? And here we go. We're all very good at making sure we are fed. We think about meals, we plan them, we look forward to them, we make sure there's food in the house. We notice when we are hungry and we respond. Hunger is something we recognize easily. There's Vienna right now. All right. Our body tells us and we listen. And there is another kind of hunger that is not always as obvious, a quieter hunger, a deeper one, the kind that does not come from the body, but it comes from within, the kind that asks a different question. And that question is, are you feeding your soul? It is easy to move through life tending to the physical. We make sure we eat, we make sure we sleep, we take care of the responsibilities in front of us. And in many ways, that is exactly what we are meant to do. But somewhere along the way, it is possible to feel full on the outside and still something missing on the inside. You can have a full plate and still feel empty. You can be surrounded by activity and still feel a quiet sense of disconnection. That feeling is not something to ignore. It's something to listen to. Because just like the body, the soul has its own way of communicating. But the soul, it doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up as a desire for something more meaningful, a pull towards something that feels more aligned, a sense that there is something deeper available, even if you cannot quite put words to it. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness. Sometimes it shows up as longing. Sometimes as a quiet question that keeps returning. Is this all there is? And the answer is always the same. There is more. But that more is not found in adding more to your schedule or doing more things. It's found in paying attention to what truly nourishes you. What brings you back to yourself? What gives you a sense of peace? What makes you feel alive in a way that is not dependent on anything external? For some, it's time in nature. For others, it's meaningful conversation. For others, still, it is creating something, being in stillness, or simply having a moment to breathe without rushing to the next thing. These are not luxuries. These are nourishment. And yet, they are often the first things we set aside when life gets busy. We tell ourselves, we'll get to them later. We prioritize everything else, and slowly, without realizing it, we begin to feel the effects of that neglect. Not in a dramatic way, but in a subtle, persistent way. A little less joy, a little less connection, a little less presence, until one day we pause long enough to notice it. And in that moment, we have a choice. We can continue moving in the same direction, or we can begin to listen. Listening does not require a complete life overhaul. It starts with something simple, a moment, a breath, a decision to give yourself something that nourishes you on a deeper level. Not because you have earned it, not because you checked everything else off your list, but because you recognize that your soul needs to be fed just as much as your body does. When you begin to make space for that, something shifts. Life feels different. Not because everything around you has changed, but because you are reconnecting with something within you that was always there. The more you listen, the more you begin to recognize what truly feeds you. And the more you honor that, the more you begin to feel whole in a way that is not dependent on circumstances. So today, in the same way you would ask yourself, what are you going to eat? Ask yourself something else. What am I doing to feed my soul? And then, just as you would not ignore physical hunger, do not ignore whatever answer you come up with. Because when you begin to nourish yourself in a way in this way, something very real begins to happen. You feel more connected, more present, more aligned with who you truly are. And from that place, everything else begins to flow a little more easily, because when your soul is fed, life has a way of reminding you something simple and true. It's all good. So that was the musings this week. And I just wanted to follow up. Normally we don't read the description of the call also, but I feel like the description was really good. He says, having written it. But so tonight's call, the title is The Meals We Remember and What Truly Feeds the Soul. We all have a meal we remember. Maybe it was the food, maybe it was the setting, but more often than not, it was the people, the connection, and how we felt in that moment. So tonight in the It's All Good circle, we begin with something simple and fun. What has been one of your favorite meals? Where were you? Who were you with? And what made it so memorable? From there, we gently explore something deeper, because while food nourishes the body, there are other things that nourish us in a much more meaningful way. What truly feeds your soul? Is it time in nature, a meaningful conversation, creating something, a moment of stillness, laughter, connection? What is it? This is a beautiful opportunity to reflect, share, and discover the simple things in life that bring us a sense of fulfillment and joy. So here you are, you're joining us for this heartfelt, uplifting conversation filled with stories, connection, and a reminder that what we are really hungry for in life may be much deeper than we think. Because when we begin to notice what truly nourishes us, it's all good. All right. So I'm going to start off with a meal that was an amazing, meaningful, incredible, memorable meal. And it was New York City. And Stephanie will remember the exact date, because that's what she does. But it was the night that we got engaged. And there was a Michelin star restaurant in New York City. And we are a bit of foodies. And Stephanie went out of her way to get a reservation. She had to call exactly 1 month before, and she got the reservation, okay, because this restaurant was so in demand. And it was a special night. I mean, we knew, we had already realized that the engagement was no surprise, and so we knew this was like our engagement dinner. Stephanie had already asked me to marry her, and the arrangement at dinner, it was a price fixed meal. And it was, and she'll remember the details, I think it was 7 or 8 courses. And we did something really, in hindsight, ridiculous. At that point in our lives, Stephanie and I would split dinner. Every time we ate dinner, we would split dinner. Like, we would eat what normally one person would eat, we would split it. So for this 8, 7, 9 course price fixed meal at this fine restaurant, we ordered 2 of those dinners instead of splitting one. So the food was amazing. They did it all gluten free for us. Pasta and fine beef, and I mean, she'll remember the exact menu. It was amazing. We laughed, we got lost in each other's eyes, we rejoiced in the moment, which was good, because later on, I believe we both had belly aches. It just was one of those incredible evenings. We went back to our suite on a top floor of a hotel in New York City, with an amazing view and a tub in a window that you could just look out over all of New York City. Um, and it was exceptional. Um, I'm really fortunate because there's about 75 other meals that I could list right now with Stephanie that have been exceptional. And seriously, tonight we had a frozen pizza, and that ranks up there with, the exceptional meals we've had. And it is about the two of us, and it is about being together and not taking any moment for granted in our experience, and realizing in each and every moment that we're together, it is the most exceptional moment, and we are the most blessed people in our lives in that moment. And we do that. So, what feeds my soul? Exactly what I just said. They kind of, it crosses over for me. What else feeds my soul? Um, Being in service to humanity and to people in general. Um, I'll give you a quick example. I had a client call me this morning. Um, I call her a client even though no money has ever changed hands. She's in the program, the quantum healing program. She doesn't have money. She came and volunteered as an angel at one of our events 6 years ago at a Unity Center in Kansas City. Her health is seriously challenged. And she called me this morning and said, I need to talk to you because I'm having a panic attack. And if I don't talk to someone right now, I'm going to have to call an ambulance and get taken to the hospital like I did last week. And we just talked. We talked about her dogs. We talked about my dog. We talked about just little things. And that fed my soul. I have plenty of people that pay for the quantum healing program, and I'm grateful for that. But I've got just as many people that can't afford it and are in it because I want them in it, and I want the best for them. And so being able to do that feeds my soul, and being able to show up for people at the highest level and love them just because we're both here right now in this moment feeds my soul. So I've talked plenty tonight. I probably shouldn't say another word until I say good night, everyone. I love you. Phil, I'm going to call on you because it's hard to teach this old dog new tricks. So here you go, Mr. Phil Roberts, also known as Flip.
All right. So I love food. Now there was a time in my life that I was the head of public relations, and that was a time in my life that we ate out. I wined and dined a lot of people, and I ate a lot of really great food, but I was always interested in what I was going to drink. I mean, that's just how it was back then, whether it was good martinis or a good bottle of champagne or wine or whatever. But then I got beyond that, and I started feeding the soul. And I'm just going to mention a few things, and then I'll get into a couple of meals that. So wild game has always been of interest to me, and if I'm anywhere that there's something different on the menu, then that's what I want, because I want to find out what it is and I want to try it. As we have two daughters, Lisa and Jessica, and as we brought our two daughters up, it was always once. You have to try it once. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but you got to try it because you don't know what you don't like until you try it, unless you smell liver. And I get that. Um, so elk, an elk burger is really, really good. Fallow deer. I don't know if anybody's ever had fallow deer. I have a friend that raises elk. He raises fallow deer. He brought me fallow deer patties. Fabulous. Um, Wild boar. Stay away from it. Not my favorite. I had it down in Texas. They had it on the menu. I went, I need to try that. And I probably went hungry that night. Wasn't so great. Kangaroo. In Australia, kangaroo are everywhere and they don't eat them. But we were on an island called Fraser Island. It has Lake Mackenzie. Lake Mackenzie is this salt. It's an alkaline lake in the middle of the island, and it's so alkaline, nothing grows in it. And people go there just to lay in the water, and you come over the sand dune and there's this lake, and it's just beautiful blue and nothing. I mean, it was just a lovely, lovely deal. But their restaurant at this little resort on Fraser Island served not only kangaroo, but Moreton Bay bugs. And people are like, what is that? And that was my first impression. It's like, what is that? Because they have this little room off the side of the restaurant. You go into this little room and there's like 80 things in jars that can kill you. And so you see on the menu Moreton Bay bugs, and it's like, what is that? Well, it's huge prawns that grow in Moreton Bay, and they called them Moreton Bay bugs. And beautiful prawns. They made this lovely dinner. It was fabulous. So, along with a really good meal comes dessert. And myself and Dr. Dream earlier on, he was trying some, I think it was coconut ice cream. And ice cream is a favorite, and probably a favorite of a little bit of everybody, unless you have an affinity or a difficulty with sugar. Maybe there are some not so sugary ice creams, but Haagen-Dazs, some of those ice creams are pretty good. But my mother, who's passed away several years ago, made chocolate chip cookies. She was the master. I very seldom found anybody, it's a chocolate chip cookie that is chewy, but not too hard, not too soft, just a nice chewiness to it, just a nice flavorful dough with nice chocolate chips. Fabulous. And then warm them, bake them just before dinner, and have them warm. And oh yes, a scoop of ice cream. Boy, that's fabulous. Now, I was very fortunate in 2001. A friend of mine traveled China all the time, so he asked me if I wanted to go play golf in China, and I'm like, well, yeah, why not? So 9/11 happens. It was either the 19th or the 20th was the first day that airplanes flew after 9/11 because everything was shut down. I'm on an airplane flying to Los Angeles to go on to Taiwan to China. Actually, no, I think on the way out we went through Hong Kong. but food in China, their whole culture is very unique and different. And you go there and people think about communism, whatever, and you just don't really even see it. Yeah, a special trip. We got to eat a lot of really interesting food. Had a great time. So no, I like the topic because and then you have that camaraderie of people at the table and conversation and food brings people together. You go on a trip and you go to a wayward place or an island or so what are we going to do? Let's go get something to eat. And so you go and you try out the local fare and you find the places that you really enjoy. And then, you might eat somewhere else, but then you go back. And yeah, it's lovely. Good friends, good food, and somebody else can drink the wine. Thank you.
What feeds your soul, Phil?
Just that. Because, if you are in the right place with all of that, and then some good music, it all goes together to just give you a really nice thing. And this afternoon, now that you bring that up, this afternoon, this gentleman that I mentioned that raises elk, he also raises kangaroo and he raises camel. And he lives about an hour from me, and he doesn't have a safari zoo. He just has some property where he raises all these animals, and I get to go there and walk the property with him. But we were having a conversation about what we do and how we serve people. And we have to nourish ourselves to help others. And so as we take care of ourselves, we're able to help others. Find food is a good way to nourish ourselves, and that nourishes the soul because we can go out and help others, and we're blessed with all of that. So the whole deal is feeding the soul. And when you allow everything to be okay, it's a soul fest. Thank you.
That's awesome. I have to throw some things in here because you listed some foods and it brought up a bunch of stuff for me. When I was 5 or 6 years old, some of my favorite foods were frog's legs and snails, escargot. When I was 12 years old, I went to Alaska. I had whale soup and caribou steak. And I went to a business meeting in Mexico City some years ago, a very fine restaurant, air quotes, and had fried crickets as an appetizer. So yeah. I needed to put all that out there. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you. I also know you well enough to know that when your soul is fed, that you step up to help people, and that one of your greatest satisfactions in life is taking care of your family. And I just put that out there and honor that and keep feeding your soul, because we all need you, and appreciate how you step up. All right. Oh, boy. See, we got like the surface stuff, and then we get to go deeper and everything. Destiny, you're here. The baby's not arrived yet. Your internet seems to be working just fine. We better take advantage of it.
What a great topic. I love that Stephanie, my best friend, was the idea for this topic. It just suits so well because because she loves food, because she loves all of the little details in life, and um, eating food with her is the best. She always makes it a good time, whether she's cooking herself. She's become quite the chef these days, or whether she's taking you out to eat. You always know it's going to be an absolutely amazing time. And it's always been like that with her. One of the things that really like our friendship, um, when we first started hanging out, what just amazed me about her so much was that I would talk about doing something like, oh, what if we do this? And she was like, let's do that. And and that's the kind of thing that really feeds your soul. And she's just so absolutely amazing. Most of the best food that I've had in life has been with her. Um, I'll never forget sitting by the lake in the Olympic National Forest on our second morning out backpacking in 2018, and we were just eating a hiker meal out of a bag, and it was absolutely amazing. And then after that, we went swimming in this lake, and the lake went like right to the edge of the mountain, so it felt like you were in this huge icy cold tub at the edge of a mountain. And I've thought of that place so many times, and that morning and that meal and everything. It's just we had been talking about doing this backpacking trip for years, and we were finally doing it, and it was just everything that I could have hoped for and more. And that's the kind of thing that feeds my soul. And food, oh my gosh, food when you're out doing stuff like that is the best. It really almost doesn't even matter what it is. Last summer we went uh, on a camping trip for my birthday, and we had uh, peanut butter and jelly and ghee sandwiches and apples on our hike. And it was so absolutely amazing. So simple and delicious. And um, we ate a lot of kachari on our backpacking and camping trips last summer too, which is an Indian food. So Indian food was like the food of the of last summer for me. Um, and it's interesting, right after our first backpacking trip of the year, I met my current fiance online, and we just started talking, and we went out to eat uh, and had Indian food, and it was amazing. I had a paneer curry, and and yeah, having that meal with him was the start of something absolutely amazing. And our relationship feeds my soul so much because since knowing him, I've I've been able to love without holding anything back, which is something that I hadn't really felt in any relationships before. There was always some kind like there wasn't that commitment and that trust to be able to fully be open and love with everything and not be afraid to. And so that feeds my soul so much. I love loving. And his I never even knew that I wasn't loving as fully as I could until I met him. So that's super beautiful. And yeah, right now I have a weird relationship with food because I'm always hungry, but can't eat very much, just a little bit, and I feel even more like a whale than I am. But I'm not complaining. I'm actually really happy just to enjoy every moment until the time is right. And then when the time is right for the big moment, then I'll be ready for that too. So that's what I got for today.
Thank you, Destiny. Appreciate you as always, and can totally relate to everything you said. Since she has been invoked so much in the beginning of the show, I normally leave Stephanie for a little bit later, but I'm going to call on you now. She's in.
Yay!
There she is.
You know I'm ready. I love food.
I mean, it's your topic, so
It is totally my topic. I have to share like three, but I'll try to go quick. All right, so we're gonna go back in time. In 2018, Joshua Dream and I took Maya to Amsterdam, and we were in Amsterdam, and it was great. And we have this amazing, amazing friend who is now one of our angels. But her name's Denise, and she has a friend over there. His name's Mark with a C, because I don't know if all Marks spell it with a C in Europe or if it's just him. But anyways, he invited us to have
by
dinner
the way,
at
it's
his.
with a CK.
Oh, he invited us to have dinner at his home in his secret garden, which was his like backyard, like sacred, like sanctuary space. And it was really, really, really awesome. I'm pretty sure Maya had already gone ahead to Germany because she wasn't there. Uh, she went like a bunch of places after Amsterdam. We went home. But it was really cool because we got to go and have like dinner with a local, like in their home in Amsterdam. And it was, we didn't know him before. We're still connected. We still feel close to him. And it was just really a really cool experience. I don't remember what we ate, honestly, like at all. I just remember feeling really welcomed and like wholesome, and like it felt really good being in a foreign country and having that type of experience where you're like actually like welcomed into somebody's home and you're not a tourist, you're a friend. Um, so that was really amazing and it fed my soul deeply. Uh, so Destiny mentioned we went on this trip for her birthday last year. We there was a strict no fire ban, like strict, and our neighbors were having a fire. And we're like, I got really uptight. I don't like when people break rules. Like I get uptight and then I tend to go tell when it's in nature because I don't want people breaking rules in nature. I want us to respect it. And so we we leave our campsite and we're going to look for a park ranger because I'm going to tell on those people for having a fire. and, and we're not finding any rangers or anything. And we're like, oh, this is weird. And we're like, all right, we'll just go for a walk, like whatever. And we're pretty close to the like entrance of the campground where like the check-in like thing is, and there's like a dishwashing station and like a covered area with like some benches and a map and stuff. And the sky out of nowhere just opened up, like lake falling from the sky. The rain was so thick and so dense and just so powerful. Me, Destiny, and Zeph, well, Destiny, Zephyr, and I, we all just ran and took cover under the ranger station. And there was no ranger there. It was just the three of us. And we have video of the rain. I mean, it was creating like rivers in the road. Like it was the heaviest rain that I've seen in years. And we're just like, all right, this is cool. We're dry. Like this works. And then after a while, this one's like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, fair. And like the campsite with the car is like, I don't know, a quarter mile away. And Destiny's like, I'm gonna get the car and I'll come get you guys. And then we'll go get dinner and then we'll come back and we'll eat it here. And I'm like, serious? Like, and she's like, yeah, I got this. She got the car, she came back, she was completely, of course, just drenched, soaking wet from head to toe, like as if like she had just jumped in the lake. And Zephyr and I run into the car and try not to get too wet. And then I fortunately had waterproof clothing it in the car, so I put that on and I went and I got everything that we needed. I got our stove and I got some like Madra's lentils that are already cooked in a bag and some tortillas and some rice. And I think we had eggs. And we went back and we just sat under there and it was just us three. There wasn't another person around anywhere. And we made dinner. And it was a simple like camping dinner, but it was amazing. We were dry. Destiny had changed her clothes. We were dry. We weren't cold. We weren't necessarily warm, but we weren't cold. And like we just ate this great meal while the rain just like came down around us. And we felt really safe, and comfortable. Like had we just been at camp when that happened, it would have been miserable. We would have all just been hiding in the van and like not knowing what to do. It rained for hours. And we just sat under that covering, just watching it and like just being in like complete like awe of just the magnitude of water coming from the sky. And also the beauty and like the good fortune that we just happened to be right there when the sky opened up. Um, it was really, 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 really awesome. Okay, and then one more I'll do it really quick. We were in Nepal, and this was one of like the fancier experiences. And we decided to I booked us really, really inexpensive Airbnbs for our whole trip in Nepal. I'm not necessarily allowed to book our accommodations when we're going to like second or third world countries anymore because I got us in some like kind of accommodations there. But we spent most of our time in Kathmandu in an Airbnb that was actually pretty nice, but it was like a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and it was $15 a night. Um, and then for our second to last night there, which was Christmas, Dr. Dream wanted to do something special, so we stayed at this like really nice hotel, like the nicest hotel in Kathmandu. It's called the Dwarka, and it is beautiful. It's made with all the like not reclaimed, but all of the old ancient wood that they could find. In Nepal, they started to burn all the beautiful like sculptures and stuff because they didn't have any wood and they were cold, which is kind of crazy. Like this is stuff that is like beautiful. And like, so this guy went around and bought all of it that he could find that wasn't burnt yet. So most of Kathmandu doesn't look like this, but it's like what it was like back in the day. And they have this restaurant experience where you go and you have 18 courses, 18, which is a huge amount of courses, but we're gluten-free and Maya's vegan. So we're like, I mean, what can you guys do for 18 courses for gluten-free and vegan people? And they're like, we can accommodate that. It's kind of mind-boggling. And the part that like is even like crazier, there's three of us, and we were the only people in the restaurant, and it took 3 hours for dinner. It was like our own private 18-course meal. And it was really exceptional, just like sitting there with, my soon-to-be stepdaughter and my fiance, and just like enjoying our time in company with like just impeccable service. It was awesome. Other things that feed my soul besides food, food is definitely one of them. I love food. Uh, but nature, of course, snowboarding really feeds my soul. Like I go out snowboarding and I just feel so just like, like I feel so good afterwards. I'm like, yeah, I got my, as Dr. Jim would say sometimes, my yayas out. Uh, and it really feeds my soul to go on like big hikes, like not just like a little hike, not like a mile or two, but like go on a big hike. Like I'm talking like 10, 15 miles, something that is going to take all day where we can eat our peanut butter and ghee and honey sandwiches and love it. And like just feel completely whipped at the end of the day. I don't know. I guess it feeds my soul to go into nature and do something that's so exhausting at the end of the day. I'm just like, that hurts. Because it feels so good on the deepest levels. And then loving my people, loving my people. You all feed my soul. So thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. That was great. I remember that evening in Kathmandu. That was amazing. All right. So let's move right along here. Gail, what say you?
Ooh, okay. At a time when I hated coffee, it was gross. I was 20. I was on a camping trip with a college boyfriend in Colorado, and I was an early riser. There were people moving around. I was like, okay, I'm awake. And he rolled over and he said, go back to sleep. And I said, no, but you go back to sleep. And he did. So I got up and I made myself a cup of coffee. Best cup of coffee I ever remember having. I was sitting on this huge granite rock, just enjoying the sunrise and the birds speaking and the symphony that was rising around me, and the quiet conversations over there, and gravel as the car drove away over there. And it was just really, really peaceful. And that was, I think that was the first exquisite something. And then I kind of went a long time. I had really good meals, a lot of good company, a lot of stuff like that. And my son and I had a falling out over COVID. And he didn't talk to me for a year and a half. And then we finally started talking again. And so all of the conversations that I've had with him, or most of them, have been richer and deeper than I ever expected to have happen. So most of my exquisite meals and the times when I'm eating that feed my soul have been with him. We and most of those meals are like simple. They're not fancy meals. They're cheese and crackers and grapes and pita bread and hummus and sitting out in a park overlooking a lake, listening to a group of people over there and some kids laughing over there and trying to keep the ants out of what we're not finished eating yet. So you take bait. You take a couple of grapes, you cut them in half, and you put them out as bait over there. And that helps. It's not perfect. But what makes those exquisite is that we don't play games anymore. We don't, if we're going to have an awkward conversation, we preface it with, I have an awkward question I want to ask, or I have something I need to tell you, or we just, and then we both sit and we sit with it, and listen all the way through, which was not something that I did before he and I had our falling out. I tried. I wasn't very good at it. And a lot of what he and I have built since then is a way of both of us speaking and listening that I don't see a lot of in our culture. There's a lot more respect. There's a lot more, he has things to say, so I need to be quiet and actually listen rather than just sort of halfway listen and have my mind go wandering off. And we do a lot of discussions where we talk about growth and what our struggles are and how we're dealing with it. And sometimes it's as simple as, I don't know what to do with my car. And sometimes it's as complicated as, I'm feeling this, which I think is related to your autism or how you responded. Help me understand it. And so those they're careful. We're really careful about how we talk to each other because we did so much damage to each other before we stopped talking. And so now it's kind of exquisite and I never expected to be friends, my kids. The things I've learned from helping him and helping me and having all these conversations is how to be a better friend, how to be a better mother to my daughter, and how to be a better not mother to my adult daughter who doesn't need a mommy all the time. And, so we're creating a space for both of us to learn and evolve. And I don't share my hopes and dreams with him much because he's so much more traditional. He's not yet ready for the woo-woo that I am. And that's okay. Someday, maybe he will be. For now, he's not. But Yeah. So most of those really poignant and potent conversations take place outside. I don't know why, but they just do. We do a lot of, we don't hike, like hike. Um, we walk because my body right now is not um, doing heavy duty um, heart racing hikes. But yeah, so those are, they're exquisite. They feed my soul, they feed his soul. And because we also often eat, they feed our bodies. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, I've had some exquisitely amazing meals, but the ones I remember are the conversations and the simple things that I've done with him over cheese and crackers and stuff like that. That's it.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. So, Lisa Wilkinson in Wyoming, are you open to a conversation?
Sure.
Excellent. You're on.
Thank you for all of you for eloquently saying what you have said. I think back of the times that I've been hiking in New England, and one of my best friends and I used to hike the Appalachian Trail in sections. And our food was always exquisite once we, camped for the night. And that was all, it was lightweight, it was simple, and it was always delicious, of course, because you've been out there exercising and building up a real appetite. And one of the things that I can remember often is that when we're with friends, there's always more of a great meal. Even though I may not remember what I ate, but it was because of the conversation and the connecting of the heart, in those conversations with people. One thing that I can remember, my husband is a fabulous cook and grilling for meals. And by the way, he's from Australia, and he has had kangaroo. But he made what was it, the big steak that I usually get. What is it?
The filet mignon.
Yeah, the filet mignon. But we did it, instead of already having it cut up, we grilled the big piece of it. And we had a bunch of friends come over, and he grilled it on a fire, as well as cooking all the vegetables and everything else on the fire. And people were like, they had just come back from hiking too, and they just were like, oh my gosh, this is the best meal that I've ever had, and the best steak and everything. So that has always resonated with me. So it's always a connection with people that I find it, even though there are great restaurants around. Being here in Casper, Wyoming, we don't have the greatest, but we're close enough to Denver if we need to get down to some type of a better food. Oh, the restaurant over in the east side that had the steaks, that was really good. We had Brian with us.
Okay.
That was, you can find these little pockets here and there that are fabulous, but it always seems to accompany with friends and family that you enjoy. So whenever I go back to New England to visit my mom, I'm right there to go to a quick fried fish, fried haddock and onion ring meal. And it's like one of my favorite meals to have there, because I miss it, having fresh fish here. So, and then of course, having the connections with people at the center. And I tell people, if you want to go deep, we can go deep. If we don't want to go deep, you just want to just be surface level, that's perfectly fine too. And I really enjoyed those heart-to-heart conversations that we have.
Nice, Lisa. We appreciate you being here tonight, and y'all are making me hungry. By the way, there's a restaurant in Boulder called Stella.
Stella. Okay.
And it is really, really amazing, like fine, fine food.
It is
And
so good.
yeah,
Yeah.
we had a really amazing meal there. Okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And Vienna, our favorite Vienna, the only Vienna that I know, but even if I knew other ones, I'm sure you'd be my favorite.
Thank you. Well, this really, the meal part really stumped me. I was like, all of a sudden my mind, when you all of a sudden you're going to try hard to think of something, and then like, I was just blank. And I asked a young person nearby, and he said, about every Christmas dinner we've ever had, and it's because we're with family. Well, that was very sweet to hear from a 17-year-old. And so then I still wasn't coming up with, like, if I had to pick one kind of thing. And then as I was listening to all of you share, it was like something brought up, well, it was the vanilla ice cream. It was homemade vanilla ice cream. So some of my favorite meals involve that, sometimes with a hand crank churn, sometimes with an electric one, and I often got to be part of tending that. I tend to have quite a bit of patience for processes. And so I was like, oh, sure, you want to stand there and put ice and salt in? Yes, go ahead. So, and just that, I don't know, the texture, the flavor, it doesn't even matter what you have with it. But so the surroundings to that would be at my mom's parents' place. My sister calls it Grandpa Town, Grandpa and Grandma Fenton. It would be a picnic. We'd be outside. Might be summer, might be hot. We'd have iced tea and lemonade, uh, maybe hot dogs on the grill, uh, uh, watermelon always, and then watermelon seed spitting contests, right? Maybe biscuits. Grandma made the best biscuits ever, strawberries, and then that ice cream on top. Oh, fresh corn on the cob, plenty of butter, plenty of salt. Yeah. So I think that would have to be my up there at the top of my list. And I actually, when I thought of restaurant meals, the one that came to me, and I thought, oh, maybe. But then when Phil started talking about exotic meats, I went, okay, I'm sharing in Nairobi, Kenya, carnivore restaurant. And it had antelope and rattlesnake and all the things, every kind of edible animal in Kenya. So that was, and it was with a very good friend. We didn't, we were in college, and it was just one of those sweet moments that'll always stay near. So that fed my soul as well. And other things that feed my soul, sunshine. Only always. I don't even have to be outside. That's preferable. But if it's a winter day, I'm really happy to be inside in the sunshine. I'm super blessed to have a west-facing window now in my bedroom. And this afternoon, I took a nap in the sunshine. And it was just glorious. And then, gotta say, I I couldn't wait to share this one. So not just sunshine, but also moonshine, but not the drinkable kind. One day I opened the curtains, and Dr. Dream got it. And I was just like big white disc out the window, and I was like, "What in the world?" And it was the moon, and it was shining on my face. I was just like, "Oh, how wonderful is that to have a place where I can enjoy, be it sun or moon or in stars. We're far enough out in the country, there's stars too, but easily seen in many of them. Uh, today, so I've heard of steamers and whatnot, And it was kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. And I've not had one of those little milk frother things before, but the house family I stay with now has one. And I'm having so much fun frothing milk. And she had a smoky flavored tea today. And I said, oh my goodness. So in Kenya, out among the Maasai, they milk their cows into gourds, a long gourd that they have sterilized. I use the air quotes here with a maybe a green, I think it's a green stick, and they light it and it smokes and they stick it down in the thing. So the milk is always smoky. And it's reminiscent of a gypsy caravan. So Stash Tea Company's caravan tea was my favorite for a long time. And so I just this morning I had frothy milk with smoky tea. Yep. And I made the steamed the milk nice and hot and just sat there and held. It was a cool morning here. Held that warm drink, smelled the smoky, drank it. That fed my soul and made my taste buds very happy. Learning and expanding my horizons really feeds my soul. Maybe that's why I keep taking classes. It's not like I need one more certificate on my wall, but that expansion is awesome. Miracles, like what we shared a few weeks ago, and just the alignment and the synchronicity. And when I feel like I've been in step with spirit, I just get giddy happy. And one time I had a flat tire. And so it's not just the synchronicity, but when I tune in enough to get what feels like a direct message to feed my soul. And I was like, oh, okay. I was taking a course called Miracle Experiment Experience Game from Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer. And so, oh, great. Atiti Devo Bawa is the word for uh, accept the unexpected guest as if God was visiting you. And so I thought, flat tire, awesome, love the visit. Okay, it's midnight on a country road. I'm going, let's see where this goes. So I've got all this stuff in my trunk. So I start unloading it on the far side of the car so I don't look like an absolute homeless person. I had my trunk full of wood. So I had to get all that out and pull out the tire, and it won't come loose. And I'm muscle testing. I'm asking, uh, is it that I'm going to meet someone special and get to bless their lives tonight? Is that why I'm stopped at midnight? So I'm nope. Oh, no, I think I heard yes to meet someone special. Awesome. Okay. And then no one came. No one came. A policeman came by, but he was on his way to a call. He said, I'll come back in about 15 minutes and check on you. Never did. But ultimately, I'm like, okay, I need help with this tire. The wheel is stuck on hard. So thankfully I've got my iPhone and I Google why won't my tire come off? Oh, of my Honda. Oh, it's rusted on the drum. I'm like, oh, fascinating. I get a two before or a sledgehammer. Didn't have either one of those. And I'm kicking backwards, stronger kick that way. Nothing's happening. So I'm going, okay. Would there be angels available for this? Yes. Ooh, I'm muscle testing. Yes, yes. Okay, great. Uh, will they come in a car? No. So like, are they here? Yes. Oh, nice. Welcome, welcome, wherever you are. Awesome. Thank you for coming. Are they done? Yes. Oh, great. What do I do now? So I turned around and kicked one more time, and the thing fell off the lug nuts. They had come and loosened it for me, and there it was. So I changed the tire, threw everything back in the trunk, and then before I pulled away, I was like, I thought I understood that I would meet someone special here. Did I miss that? No. I have chills talking about it. Oh, it's like, well, who did I meet? And I said, then you just have to sit and listen when there's no obvious answers. And it was like, oh, Was it the me who could have faith and believe and act and receive? It was like, yes. I was like, oh. So just the synchronicity, the miracle, the alignment, and the message to feed my soul. So that's some of my very, very favorite kinds of things. Giving hope to people that thought that pain was never going to go away, and we find some tight muscles and release the tension, and blood comes in, and things go home, and nerves stop being pinched, and healing happens. Love, love, love that. Um, Sharing heart things with people. Uh, when people like, so I'll share, oh, shrug chicken wing lean, get some blood in those upper traps. And then I find out later that they're implementing that. They remembered it and they're doing it and their life is better because of it. I get super happy about that. And the other thing that I really love in terms of that feed my soul messages is someone said just to get your thinker brain offline so that you can receive messages. Write with the right hand, kind of like, Dear God, what are you thinking of me today? And then switch the pen to your left hand and just write stream of consciousness, just. And then I go back and read it later and go, oh my goodness, you are fun, you are flow, you are, and I'm just like, oh, is that really how you feel? So these are a few of my favorite things that feed my soul. I love you all. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Vienna. That was very sweet. As I'm looking at who all is here tonight, I realize that I've gotten to spend time with all of you except for Lisa, but Casper, Wyoming, and Lisa, I believe that we may just be passing through there this summer. We will keep you updated on that. But it is, it's Monday night, and you all know my story that I repeat about, the It's All Good circle. I thought we'd have tens and tens of people here, and it's remained small and intimate and quaint, and it feeds my soul to be here every Monday night and to feel embraced and welcomed and appreciated and all of the above, and then to be embracing and appreciating and loving to all of you. It is a tremendous opportunity, and I like that we all make the most of it, and you all are so good with the topics and everything else. It's really, really super fun. Vienna, we will be in Kansas City, and I just put all the dates in the calendar. It's May and June. We'll be spending time there. Love to get you and Gail and at least the two of us together and go do some fun meal that we'll never forget. And it could be super simple because just time with the four of us would be delightful. Phil, the next time I see you in person, we're going out for the most wonderful, incredible Thai food ever. We're going to have a meal to talk about for a long time.
We are.
And super excited just to have dedicated time with you and Mary and everything.
Can I bring something up?
What?
Can I bring something up?
Certainly.
And I thought about this. There's such a thing as a sneaker meal. It's a meal that you walk into that you never really anticipated or you never thought was actually possible. And myself and Mary took my daughter Lisa and her brother Gary. Gary had a brain injury, and they were both in wheelchairs. We took them to Australia and New Zealand for a month. And, so how did we do that? Well, we never thought about that we shouldn't. and so we get to Brisbane, Australia. We actually had a place rented there, but we found the place not to be, no, we're not staying there. So we decided we were going to travel north towards the Great Barrier Reef. And we had a rental van, and we had 2 wheelchairs, and we had, the thing was packed. I was a master packer, and we just started driving north. Well, I was an avid golfer, and actually brought my golf clubs because you never know. And so looking for places to stay, I always looked for a nice golf course because nice golf courses had nice lodging around it, because they did. And so we saw this nice golf course, and we pull in, and there's this little restaurant there, and I walked inside to find out where we go to check into this place, and the guy, it looks sort of like a 1950s cafe with a greasy grill and da da da. And I said to the guy, I said, "Oh, by the way, where might we go get a really good steak tonight?" And he said, "What time do you want to have a good steak?" And I said, "Well, like 7 o'clock." He said, "You come back here at 7, I make you the best steak you've ever had." And I'm like, okay. Here we are in Australia in this old 1950s looking place, and we show back up at 7, and this guy made the most fabulous meal for us. It was incredible. It was, just out of nowhere. And sometimes we get food in places that really nourishes the soul, because it's totally unexpected. It's coming from somebody you don't even know. And it was just this whole love about the food and his confidence, and it was brilliant. I just wanted to share that sometimes we walk into situations unknowingly and not expecting it, and we get true surprises that, just bless us. So thank you all, and I will see you in Dallas.
I love it. You mentioned sneaker meal, and I saw Vienna take her shoe off or do the thing, and I thought, oh my goodness, what's this going to be? So yeah, I want to thank you all. It's just the most wonderful way ever to start my week is our connection. And the stories and you all are full of it. I mean that in a good way, full of great stories. And I promise next week will not have to do with food, but it'll be something that on some level nourishes us and gives us a little deeper insight into who each of us are, and possibly even who we are on our own. So I want to thank you all very much and end it tonight the way, I got a hand raised.
I have an idea. Since we brought up this food with friends thing, and someone in the house tonight cooked some cinnamon apples, and I'm going to go have that with some yogurt.
Oh my God.
And so I got to thinking, how much, I mean, I don't know that it could be any richer than what we got going now, but what if we each had either a fresh apple or an apple dish when we meet next Monday night and we eat together? So just a thought.
Okay. Let's think about it. I am the spin doctor. Let's see what I can turn that into. Yeah, definitely. My Auntie Walsh used to make baked apples, and it's Stephanie now makes them for us, and absolutely love them. Of course, Auntie Walsh used to have lots of brown sugar and butter in her baked apples, so hers were exceptional. Stephanie, I saw you raise your hand without raising your hand.
I said the fruit of life.
The fruit of life. All right, you're all giving me stuff to work on. Let's see what we can do. I love it. And I love all of you, and I am appreciative, and my life is rich and full because of these relationships and these interactions. And I thank you very much. And my wish for you is that you are as filled up in this experience as I always get on Mondays, and it always carries me through the week till next Monday. You have a wonderful next 7 days. Know that you're loved, know that you belong, and know how nice it is for us all to be together. Good night, everyone.